to downloading and streaming, right now what's happening with youth, Canadian youth download an average of 13 songs a week, with 14 to 18-year-old males driving this, of course. TV shows are downloaded less than songs, an average of 2.7 episodes a month, that's it. And 19 to 24-year-old males are driving this. Look at that, they're hogs. They're total hogs, 6.2 versus 2.7. And then downloading an entire movie is just averaging out at around 1.5 movies per month. And, you know, we've all seen sort of the quality issues there. That might be part of it. The shaky version of Blair Witch Project, which you didn't need. And then this is a lot to look at here, but I just thought in terms of trends, so basically that's where things are right now, and it's, you know, lots of technology in their world. It is the oxygen that they breathe. In terms of mobile, they're not really getting on board the bandwagon as much as we thought they would. But if you ask them a question like, it doesn't matter whether I watch it on TV, at the movie theater, on my computer, on my mobile phone, it just matters that I like the content. Almost a majority, or basically it's split half and half of people, young people, sort of say, yeah, I don't really care where I get it from, I just want to get it. And another really key piece here is the future of television and video content is through broadband and internet networks. So when you talk to young people today here in Canada, they understand, almost a majority understand this is where the future is. Of course, if you look at it on the inverse, the other sort of around 60% aren't really there thinking about that. They're still locked into a bit of a traditional mind space, you know. They like to find workarounds. Technology is a bit of a workaround around an anachronistic model that they've been sort of given, and they're still trying to find their way through it. But the future is written on the wall. I'd say all of these numbers are going to increase. We've seen them increase in the past 2 years, almost twofold in terms of interpretations of what's going out there in the marketplace and attitudes right now. And again, you know, I watch content streamed to my mobile device. It's only, you know, you aggregate that together, it's only around 6 or 7% watch that content streamed to their mobile device still. So it's coming. And it's good that you're doing that, but, you know, what can we do? I'd say, if anything, this should be a springboard into all the discussions we're going to be having over cocktails and coffee over the next couple of days of, like, what the F is up with that, and how can we get around that? And let's work on this as an industry to get that out there. I think that's sort of a really important piece. And sort of highlighting this other piece that I'm talking about is, since the company was formed, we always ask this question, where would we, if you were going to advertise to people your age, where would you do it? And time again, television is number one. Now, popular websites and portals, I mean, back when we started, when the Earth was cooling around 8 years ago, it was down here in the sort of the 20s and 30s. It's doubled that in the past sort of 8 years or so. And we expect it to usurp television right now. I think, if anything, that's a bit of a lesson just to give you guys a sense of sort of how it's moving up there. But television, traditional mass media, continues to still hold some sort of presence. There's something still about the shared common experience that is important to young people today. In fact, they're more experiential, as anybody in the advertising world would know, about events and things of that nature. They're more experiential and looking for that visceral connection with a brand or with a person more so than any previous generation. So there is sort of there's a sheen of technology which to them is just like blowing their nose, whatever. But beneath that is really, you know, blood and guts and a look for something that they can share with a lot of people at one time, at the same time. So I think that's interesting. Something that hasn't been embraced by this industry, I would say, is video, is gaming. As an advertising medium, as a communication medium. It blows your mind. Up here at the top, only 7% of Canadian tweens, 9 to 13, don't play video games at least 1 hour a week. So that means 93% of them are, you know, out there playing. So I would just say here, just in this context, ladies and gentlemen, effective immediately and for the foreseeable future, please banish any of those thoughts that you have that, you know, some sort of communication plan through the gaming world is only for the, like, geeks in their basement, you know, snorting red eye and a Red Bull and, you know, going crazy, whatever else they're snorting. You know, it really is completely and utterly ubiquitous now. And I hope that puts a nail in the coffin of that debate. I've been at a number of these different types of conferences over the past 5 years, and gaming always comes up as sort of the red-headed stepchild of media. It really shouldn't be. It's a huge area. And I don't know why it's not being used to its full potential. I mean, when you look at casual gamers now, around 61%, 9 to 34, so maybe that scares people. They're not that into it, but I mean, anybody that sort of understands, well, take a look at board culture, for instance. Anybody that's, that's a perfect example of a cultural motif that's been used effectively no matter what it is that you're selling or communicating, despite the fact that, a small percentage of people actually are involved directly in, board culture. Might be too, and female gamers, just so I thought this pointed out, 66% of them are involved at least once a week, 1 hour a week in some sort of video game. So I think at the end of the day, it has to do a lot more with sort of our people, I'm talking to us in the industry, our perceptions or misperceptions of the video game era, and I think there's anybody that sort of understands how the gaming environment can work in terms of getting messages out and content out now is way ahead of the curve and really should keep moving that way, because as we all know, it's not about shoot-'em-ups at all. We were just down at E3, and that's sort of last year's news or last year's whatever. In terms of social media, well, hello, 89% of respondents are on Facebook, so that's pretty out of hand. That's gone up that's just crazy. MySpace is down around 29%, still has some good value, despite all its glitches for anybody that wants to go get music. If you're in a band or an artist or something like that, interested in music, you always go there. Disney's Club Penguin, as much as I like to, whatever. It does really well with 9 to 13-year-olds right now, and that's sort of where the battle's happening right now in terms of Facebook versus Club Penguin in the 9 to 13-year-olds. But overall, Canadians used to spend an average of around half an hour a day on social networking or updating their sites or whatever their profiles are. So I think that's really interesting as well. Twitter, we all know how huge it is. This technology edition happened back in 2008, and we hadn't put it on yet. It hadn't really reached penetration. It'll be really amazing to see how that goes. But of course, we all know what Ashton has to say about it. And if Ashton's saying it's great, well, then it should be, right? One other point I'd like to ponder is that, in all the different types of all of the different types of research that we do at Youthography for all our different clients and the advertising work, we do have great occasions all the time to talk to young people. And yeah, they're all over social media, but there has been this year an unprecedented amount of talk. It's like one of these things. We may be talking about like some new cool social media app, that a client wants us to talk about, and they like the idea of it, but there's always someone that sort of goes, I'm effing getting sick of this. In fact, I'm getting rid of half of my friends, and then that sort of opens up this Pandora's box, and everyone jumps on and starts going, yeah, I'm sick of it too. And you're noticing sort of lots of anecdotal evidence about people that are getting rid of different, apps and different types of networking sites that they really have no time for. So obviously we're not going back to pen and paper, but there is sort of this developing sense out there that we've been tracking of the drudgery involved with keeping up to date on all those social media channels, and just something to monitor. It's obviously, right now a lot of us, particularly clients of ours in the private sector and the public sector, knocking on the door, trying to get in. Well, the last thing they want to do is invite, new people into that, because right now they're trying to get rid of some of their old people anyway. So there's something out there. So that's the update. I thought I'd just hit you with that, just to provide the context. I think I'm going to go back to the big picture and what this means for brands, marketing, creative communications, creative content.